Chapter 33, Part 2, Guardians. The jagged peaks of the mountain seemed to cradle the Nythari stronghold like an ancient secret waiting to be revealed. As the expedition group crested the final ridge, the sprawling village of wooden huts and stone ramparts unfurled beneath them, a living tapestry of nature and craftsmanship seamlessly interwoven with the rocky slopes. The cool, crisp mountain air was filled with murmurs of anticipation and the quiet rustling of banners bearing the emblem of the hawk and sun. Aphyrosia, the enigmatic and revered queen of elves, led the procession with an effortless grace. Her silver-braided hair caught the light as she strode ahead, every step exuding a quiet authority that silenced even the restless winds. Her robes, woven from the very essence of the forest, seemed to shimmer with the ancient magic of the land. The moment she appeared at the threshold of the stronghold, the tribe's wary gazes transformed into expressions of deep, heartfelt awe. Even the eldest among them, with faces weathered by centuries, bowed their heads in silent homage. Lucas and Mina, identified without doubt as the Children of Hybris, followed close behind her. They carried the weight of their destiny with a palpable tension, a mingling of fear, determination, and the fragile hope of those chosen by prophecy. Lucas's lean frame and light brown hair were unassuming against the imposing backdrop of tradition and myth, while Mina's agile form moved with a quiet strength that belied her tender years. Their eyes, locked in an unspoken conversation, flickered with curiosity and the burden of secrets yet to be revealed. The group was flanked by Thomas, whose towering presence and measured steps radiated both protection and resolve. His vigilant gaze swept the perimeter, ensuring that no hidden threat could catch them unawares. Candace, ever the steady navigator and scout, maintained a close watch on their surroundings, her amber eyes reflecting both determination and the flicker of distant memories. Dira, the anxious yet steadfast scholar, clutched her notebook as if it were a talisman, her thoughts swirling with both apprehension and the urgency of unearthing forgotten truths. Alderus, with scars that told silent stories of past battles, moved as a vigilant guardian, ever alert to the natural hazards that the mountain might present. At the forefront of the stronghold's welcoming party stood Vermicalis, the tribal chief, his wiry frame and stern yet honorable bearing emblematic of the Nythari's unwavering resolve. Clad in garments that bore intricate carvings of hawks and radiant suns, he stepped forward with measured caution, his eyes narrowing as he regarded the visitors. "Queen Aphyrosia," he intoned, his voice low and resonant, "your presence graces us, as do the chosen children of Hybris. The gods have whispered of your coming." Aphyrosia inclined her head in a regal acknowledgement, her voice soft yet imbued with the weight of ancient wisdom. "Chief Vermicalis, guardians of the sacred temple of crystals, we honor your people. I have come not only as ruler of Hillyriel, but as protector of the ancient prophecies that bind our fates." Her words wove through the crisp air like a benediction, soothing the lingering tension among the gathered tribe. The Nythari warriors, once tense and alert, gradually eased their stances as the scene before them resonated with an otherworldly significance. Their eyes, sharp and observant, darted between the new arrivals, capturing each detail of their attire and bearing, weighing the familiar symbols of the prophecy. The reverence bestowed upon Lucas and Mina was unmistakable. Whispered exclamations and soft murmurs filled the hall as the young heroes were led further into the heart of the stronghold. Under the steady guidance of Candace, the expedition group was escorted along a narrow pathway lined with carvings that told stories of ancient battles and celestial destinies. Each step was measured and purposeful, the stone beneath their feet cool and worn by countless generations. The path wound its way past clusters of Nythari elders, their faces lined with the wisdom of the ages, and through guarded courtyards where families and warriors alike gathered, their expressions a mix of hope and guarded caution. As they reached the ceremonial hall, a magnificent structure fashioned from native wood and stone that melded harmoniously with the rugged mountain backdrop, a hush fell over the assembly. High, arched doorways framed by elaborate carvings of hawks in mid-flight and suns radiating eternal light spoke of the tribe's ancient traditions and unwavering devotion. Within, the soft glow of torches mingled with the natural luminescence of magical crystals embedded in the walls, creating an atmosphere that was both sacred and otherworldly. Inside the hall, intricate patterns of Nythari script and symbols of prophecy adorned every surface. The ambiance was electric, filled with both a sense of imminent revelation and the quiet undercurrent of concern. The recent breach of the Temple of Crystals, a wound inflicted upon the land's ancient spirit, had stirred a flurry of urgency among the tribe's leaders. Conversations in hushed tones, punctuated by the occasional clink of ceremonial tools, filled the room. Vermicalis gestured toward a carved stone dais at the center of the hall, where a semicircle of elders had already assembled. Their eyes glowed with the soft light of the crystals, their expressions reflecting a blend of solemnity and hopeful anticipation. "We gather in these hallowed halls, bound by duty and destiny," he pronounced. "The breach in the Temple of Crystals portends events beyond our ken, yet in your coming, Queen Aphyrosia, Children of Hybris, we see a sign, a beacon of hope to guide us through these uncertain times." Aphyrosia stepped forward, her voice steady and imbued with the serene authority of ages. "We are here not only to bear witness to the temple's plight, but to work together toward its restoration. Each of you, as guardians of this sacred site, holds a key to the prophecy that connects us all." Her words, measured and filled with ancient promise, seemed to resonate with the very stones beneath their feet. As the meeting continued, Lucas and Mina found themselves the focus of whispered reverence. Their presence, as if a cosmic alignment had drawn them into this fold, sparked subtle nods and respectful murmurs among the elders. Their destinies, so interwoven with the ancient magic of the land and the prophecies of old, shone forth even in their youthful appearances. For some, their mere presence was enough to validate long-held hopes that the prophecy would soon be fulfilled. Meanwhile, the rest of the expedition group took stock of their surroundings. Candace's keen eyes roamed the hall, noting every symbol and carving as potential clues to the mysteries that lay ahead. Dira, her hands trembling ever so slightly as she clutched her notebook, scribbled frantic notes in the dim light, her mind racing to connect the fragments of knowledge she had amassed. Thomas, ever the sentinel, kept a close watch on the peripheries, ensuring that no threat, seen or unseen, could breach the sanctity of this moment. Aldaris, silently vigilant, stood guard by the entrance, his every sense attuned to the murmurs of the ancient mountain. The dialogue between the tribe's elders and the expedition's leaders wove a complex tapestry of hope and caution. The breach of the Temple of Crystals, though shrouded in mystery and potential peril, was also a call to unity, a call that resonated in every heart present. The Nythari stronghold, with its intricate blend of natural splendor and ancestral lore, became the stage upon which destiny itself would play out its intricate design. In that ancient ceremonial hall, as the voices of the past mingled with the urgent present, a delicate promise was forged, that the secrets of the temple, the fate of the Children of Hybris, and the destiny of the land would be unraveled not through isolation, but through the unity of all who dared to embrace the unknown. The scent of burning herbs and age-old incense hung in the ceremonial hall, clinging to the air like memory itself. Stone columns carved with feathered glyphs reached up toward the mountain's ceiling, where soft shafts of amber light filtered through slitted crevices in the rock. The quiet murmur of voices fell to silence as Chief Vermicalis stepped forward into the circle of elders. Lucas could feel the weight of 100 eyes on him. They were not hostile, nor even unkind, merely full of meaning, full of belief. He stood beside Mina and Thomas, flanked by Aphyrosia and Candace. The queen, as always, emanated calm authority, her silver braids glinting faintly in the firelight. Candace offered him a quick glance, comforting but unreadable. Mina remained composed. Her posture was relaxed, yet her gaze swept the chamber with quiet vigilance. Lucas envied her ability to seem at ease, even as his thoughts churned beneath the surface. The tribe's mystics began the ritual. No magic, no incantation, only the quiet thrum of drums, the soft rhythm of footsteps as they danced in slow circles around the gathered party. Feathers and beads jingled faintly. Smoke curled in deliberate spirals above their heads. One by one, the mystics touched the travelers with a fingertip, dipped in ochre, forehead, chest, palms. "It is the rite of recognition," Candace whispered. A tradition to honor sacred guests and to affirm our protection. Lucas nodded mutely. He could feel the elders watching even this moment, measuring his reaction to every breath. The ochre was warm against his skin, not in temperature, but in presence, as if the tribe itself were imprinting memory onto him. When the final drumbeat faded, Chief Vermicalis stepped into the center of the circle. His voice, deep and resonant, broke the silence like a bowstring loosed. "Children of Hybris," he said, bowing his head to Lucas and Mina. "Queen Aphyrosia, Candace of the Outer Ridges, you have come at a time foretold, though not yet fully understood. We welcome you." The elders murmured assent, their faces solemn. "Our tribe has waited," the chief continued, "not in idleness, but in vigilance. Our people keep the Watcher's path guarded. We protect the Temple of Crystals, not as conquerors of knowledge, but as stewards of what should not be easily awakened." Lucas stirred. Something inside him tightened at the mention of the temple. Mina's hand brushed his, not to grasp, but to steady. He didn't even know he'd been swaying. Aphyrosia stepped forward. "We are grateful for your hospitality, Vermicalis, and your counsel. The Children of Hybris are not here to claim dominion. They are here to understand, to fulfill what began long before their births." The tribal chief nodded. "And yet, before that path can be walked, we must speak of what has transpired in recent days." He turned toward the central dais, where a polished stone table had been cleared for the meeting. A gesture from his hand, and several warriors brought forward a folded cloth, setting it upon the table. When unfolded, it revealed twisted shards of blackened metal, singed paper fragments, and the scorched remnants of a detonator core. "This," Vermicalis said grimly, "is what remains of the researchers' team's tools." Candace's expression darkened. "They went against your word?" The chief's tone did not change. 5 days ago, they arrived under the pretense of academic research. They claimed to seek entry to the Temple of Crystals, citing authorization from a higher source, though they never named who. We denied them. The temple has been sealed for centuries. Its energies are not meant to be disturbed. Lucas felt his pulse pick up. "But they stayed." Vermicalis inclined his head. "We permitted it. Queen Aphyrosia vouched for their restraint, and for their purpose. And yet, 3 nights passed, they vanished from the guest quarters. By the time our scouts discovered the detonation, the stone gates had already been breached. They used some form of powered drill, or a hybrid vehicle outfitted for excavation. The temple doors collapsed behind them within the hour." Mina's brows furrowed. "Have you attempted contact since?" "No response. No movement. No signal," Vermicalis replied. "We believe their entry compromised the protective threshold." Aphyrosia's gaze turned sharp. "You said their vehicle entered with them?" "Yes," Vermicalis confirmed. "A tracked construct, smaller than a transport, but larger than a scouting pod. They pushed it through the breach." Thomas spoke for the first time. "And the structural collapse, was it natural? Or a defense?" The chief hesitated. "We do not know. The temple was constructed with layers of ancient safeguards. The moment of collapse coincided with a surge of pressure in the surrounding stone. Our shamans described it as the temple breathing in. No other signs." Candace stepped closer to the table, inspecting the remains. Her voice dropped. This is standard combustion residue. They didn't just push, they tore it open." Lucas stared at the blackened metal. The pit in his stomach had begun to churn again. This time, heavier. "What happens now?" he asked. Vermicalis' gaze locked with his. "Now, we must decide whether to follow or to wait. The temple may no longer be dormant, and the presence of the Children of Hybris stirs the threads of prophecy. The elders will deliberate, but know this, your arrival and their descent are not coincidence. Something has begun. Whether we walk willingly into its mouth or remain behind, that is what we must discuss." The chamber quieted again. All that remained was the crackle of fire, the muted breath of wind curling through carved slits in the stone. Lucas turned his eyes to Mina. She said nothing, but in their telepathic link, she whispered, "Whatever is inside that temple, it's not asleep anymore." And for the first time since entering the Nythari stronghold, Lucas didn't feel watched. He felt awaited. The ceremonial hall was dimly lit by the gentle glow of embedded crystals, their soft luminescence now heightened by a pulsating energy that resonated with every beat of the Nythari hearts gathered within. The Temple of Crystals, long a symbol of sacred protection and ancient wisdom, shuddered with an awakening power that none could fully comprehend. Chief Vermicalis stood at the head of the assembled elders, his stern gaze fixed upon the intricate tapestries of light that played along the stone walls. Tonight, the hall was no longer a quiet sanctuary for ritual. It had become a crucible of urgent deliberation. Around him, the tribal elders murmured in low, anxious tones. Their voices, ancient and weathered by countless seasons, spoke of omens and portents. The surge of energy emanating from deep within the temple was attributed to the intrusions of the researchers' team, uninvited seekers of forbidden knowledge whose experiments had shattered long-held barriers. The atmosphere vibrated with a tension that threatened to overwhelm tradition, stirring the hearts of the Nythari with a mixture of fear and fervent anticipation. Vermicalis, his wiry frame set in a stance that exuded unwavering resolve, addressed the gathered assembly with a voice that blended authority and sorrow. "We stand at the threshold of destiny," he declared, each word measured with the weight of centuries of guardianship. "The temple, our sacred charge, pulses with a life we have not witnessed in ages. It calls to us, and perhaps to those who are bound by fate to our future." His words were met with a wave of nods and murmurs. Yet, amid the concordance of most elders who desired to grant access to the Children of Hybris, a few voices rose in protest. These dissenters, steeped in a tradition that revered the temple's sealed secrets, argued for its eternal closure, a protection against the corrupting influence of outsiders. In a secluded alcove near the chamber's far end, Candace, Lucas, Mina, and Thomas huddled together. The party, already worn from their arduous journey and the internal conflicts that plagued their souls, now found themselves at the nexus of two converging paths. Their roles in this unfolding destiny were as murky as the shifting shadows cast by the crystal light. Lucas, his mind alive with a kaleidoscope of conflicting emotions, listened intently to the elders' debates. The surge of energy that he felt in sync with his own telekinetic pulses was both a beacon and a burden. Every whispered word of fate, every reference to the ancient prophecy, wove itself into the tapestry of his troubled thoughts. He recalled the weight of his past, the experiments that had forged his resilience, and the unspoken truths that bound him to Mina in an eternal mental embrace. Yet doubt gnawed at him. Was he truly meant to be the harbinger of the temple's reawakening, or merely an unwilling pawn in a prophecy too vast for any mortal to grasp? Mina, ever vigilant, shifted her gaze between the council and Lucas. The rhythm of her heart, amplified by the charged atmosphere, mirrored her inner turmoil. As one of the Children of Hybris, her destiny was inexorably linked with the relics and the mystical forces now stirring in the temple. She was the scout, the seeker of paths hidden in plain sight, yet the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty. "We must be cautious," she murmured, her voice a blend of determination and quiet trepidation. "The temple's call is not merely a summoning of ancient power. It is a test of our very souls." In the center of the hall, Aphyrosia's presence was as enigmatic as it was commanding. Clad in robes woven from the essence of the forest and crowned with silver hair braided into intricate patterns, the elven queen exuded a calm that belied the turbulent energies swirling around her. When she finally spoke, her voice resonated with the authority of ages past, laden with cryptic counsel. "There is more than mere intrusion at work," she intoned, her eyes reflecting the weight of untold secrets. "The temple awakens to the harmony of fate and free will. The sealed chamber is not a prison, but a crucible, one that demands sacrifice, revelation, and the courage to confront our deepest truths." Her words, both reassuring and ominous, deepened the mystery that hung in the charged air. The elders exchanged glances, their expressions a mosaic of hope and apprehension. In that moment, the debate coalesced into a singular, irrevocable decision. The majority, with voices that trembled with the fervor of tradition and the lure of destiny, decreed that the sealed entrance must be excavated. It was a choice born of necessity, a decision to confront the unknown and to risk the sanctity of the temple for the greater purpose of fulfilling the prophecy. Vermicalis, aware of the fragile balance between duty and destiny, raised his hand to silence the lingering whispers of dissent. His voice, now tempered by both the burden of leadership and the urgency of the moment, carried the weight of inevitability. "We do this not out of defiance or reckless ambition," he proclaimed, his eyes scanning the gathered faces, "but out of the sacred duty entrusted to us. The temple has spoken through its awakening, and we must answer that call." As the echoes of his declaration reverberated through the hall, the energy from the Temple of Crystals intensified, bathing the chamber in a spectral light that seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the earth. The air itself vibrated with anticipation, a promise of revelations and the harsh inevitability of confrontation. The decision was clear. The temple would be opened, its sealed mysteries laid bare in hopes of reclaiming lost truths and fortifying the future against the encroaching chaos of external forces. For Candace and her companions, the moment was a crucible of conflicting loyalties. The decision to excavate the temple was not merely a strategic move, it was a call to embrace their destinies, however perilous they might be. Thomas's broad frame tensed as he gripped the hilt of his sword, his eyes reflecting both the cold pragmatism of a warrior and the inner conflict of a reluctant hero. His mind raced through the implications of the Elder's order, a mixture of duty to his friends and a deep-seated skepticism about the prophecies that had so often led to ruin. Lucas felt a surge of energy course through him, a silent acknowledgement that the forces aligning around the temple were far beyond the realm of mortal understanding. In his heart, the intertwined fates of the Children of Hybris and the ancient relics whispered of a future wrought with both wonder and despair. His telepathic bond with Mina pulsed in quiet solidarity, a promise that together they would navigate the labyrinth of fate, even if it meant facing the very heart of the temple's mysteries. In the final moments of the assembly, as the elders began to mobilize the excavation teams, Apphyrosia's gaze lingered on the party. Her cryptic counsel remained a silent reminder that the path ahead was fraught with peril and the promise of transformation. "Let the temple's awakening be the beacon that guides us through the shadows," she murmured softly, her words a benediction for those daring enough to challenge destiny. Thus, with the decision resounding like a clarion call through the ceremonial hall, the ancient stones of the temple trembled in anticipation. The seal that had long guarded its secrets was about to be broken. In that moment, the dual forces of tradition and destiny converged, setting the stage for a confrontation that would test the very limits of loyalty, courage, and the indomitable human spirit. As the assembled Nythari and the brave souls of the party prepared to descend into the unknown, the temple's vibrant energy served as both a warning and a promise that the truth, however hidden or dangerous, would be revealed, and that their fates were irrevocably intertwined with the mysteries of the ancient, awakened sanctuary.